Hello, everybody, and we are back with Cooking AI Agents live show from Integrail. I'm Anton Antic. I'm the founder of Integrail, and thank you for everybody who is joining us now. You can watch us on YouTube, you can watch us on LinkedIn, you can watch us on a couple of different channels. But if you want to participate, if you want to ask questions, and we definitely love when you are asking questions and participating, please join Integral's YouTube channel. That's where we use it as a primary platform for streaming, and that's from where we can take the questions and interact. So we haven't seen each other for some time, actually over a month. We did two shows last year in November. They were really great. We got lots of good feedback, and I actually encourage you, if you want to learn how to build AI agents, I really encourage you to watch those videos, to watch some other videos that we have on Integral channels. They show how to use different functionality of Integrate and shows how easy it is to build different AI agents using this platform. For instance, last time we looked at a very important functionality that we're not going to be reviewing today in detail. But if you want to build interesting and useful agents for you, you really have to watch it, because there we looked at how to work with different lists. And you have to work with different lists all the time when you're doing something useful in your job, be it the web search lists or the lists of candidates or the lists of any other information that you plan to work with. So we kind of laid the foundation uh, last year in those two sessions. Then we went and we participated at Amazon reInvent. That was a great, amazing show done by Amazon in Las Vegas. We had lots of interest, lots of interesting conversations with potential customers, with users, with builders, and we took a lot of feedback. And this is what we are now implementing in our product. And there is tons of exciting stuff that is happening both in the product and in our company that we will be sharing this year. This is our first installment this year. We plan to do it every week. There is lots of exciting content prepared for you. So it's really good to be back, really good to have you. And with that, I want to start the today's session. And what we're going to do today is a little bit different. We're going to be building a team of agents that can help us with recruiting. An enormous and very important task for every company, be it a startup, be it a big company. And there are lots of different problems that arise during that process. And to help me with that, to help me describe how to do that, I have a guest, as always, on a show. This time, we just turn him on. This time, it's going to be Maher. Um,
Hello.
Maher Faraj, who is my longtime friend and colleague. He actually works for us at Integral as well. And I invited him to be this guest that has an HR problem, which we will try to solve during today's show. So, Maher, hi, and please say a couple of words for our viewers.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's truly a pleasure to be here. Um, I've been doing this for quite a long time now, as you know, Anton, and have been on both sides of the fence. So I'm quite passionate about recruitment, about hiring top candidates. You know, finding the right people is truly important. And as you said, you know, it's not dependent on the size of the company. You can be working for a very large organization, you could be a small, growing organization, but getting the right people is very important. And I think there's a lot of bottlenecks and areas of improvement that we can talk about and that we can definitely address with agentic AI. So would love to, would love to embellish more on that, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe I think you have some slides you wanted to share
Yeah,
with us.
yeah. So that's for sure. I'll go into some slides now, but just setting the scene, we are trying to find the perfect candidates. We're always looking to see how can we best serve our business. and guaranteeing a good result is never there. And is there a way to simplify this? And this is kind of where we are today, which is how can we best simplify that matter? How can we best make sure that we're reducing redundancies, but also improving accuracy? Okay, because as I said, I've been on both sides of the fence, looking for a job, but also hiring people. There's definitely lots of places for improvement. So I'm excited to talk about this. I hope we can, build something really exciting and something that is useful for everybody, builders, but actual even business users potentially. So I'll walk you through a couple of slides, just setting the scene.
Yeah, sorry, Maher, before you do that, I just want to make a short comment because Maher is absolutely right. So once again, guys, we really thought about this show as the show for builders. We want to try to teach you how easy it is to build agents in general, but using our platform specifically, because we do believe the big wave is coming and the big changes is coming. And if you don't know how to build agents, how to work with agents, you will have troubles in the future world. So we really want to share this knowledge and make as many people as excited as we are about agentic AI. But having said that, actually for our enterprise customers, for bigger customers, we also want to show what is possible, what kind of tasks can we tackle on. But of course, the format of our show does not allow us to build an actual complete end-to-end solution, which we will more than happily do in one-on-one engagements. So once again, this is to learn, this is to get excited. But if you have follow-ups, if you have ideas, if you want to have an end-to-end solution, we are more than happy. We are always here to talk to you and help you navigate the AI world. Please, Maher.
Thank you. So the topic for today and kind of the problem we're solving is looking at how can we improve the recruitment process in general. Okay, there's a lot of ideas out there. There's maybe some potential tools, but using AI to your advantage can really boost a lot of things very, very quickly in a very simple format. If you look at what are some of the main, I would say, vision of what we're trying to do is we're looking at building agents that can help streamline processes, okay? What that means is be able to analyze resumes with an extremely unparalleled speed, okay? Looking at using different LLMs and machine learning aspects. Being able to match candidates depending on the actual job criteria. So if you're looking for a software engineer, then we need to look at certain requirements that a software engineer will need. Maybe they need to be a Python expert or an SQL expert. You can put all of those exact details and criteria. As you want X amount of experience, that can all be baked into this agent. And then after we build this agent and it's actually out there doing things for us, how cool would it be if we could make it actually do something? So actuate. Go out there, generate an action, talk to certain teams, go into a certain application in your organization, for instance, and activate an actual insight, right? So it's not just sorting, but actually doing something. Then, if you look at what are the main results and what are we trying to do, we want to push to make sure that candidates are shortlisted with an 80% match rate. We want to provide actual action, as I just said, but be able to transform what your HR team is doing and be able to get really refined and final decisions. Again, I've been on both sides of the fence, as I've said, and it's always difficult. Sometimes, everyone has a story. A lot of candidates are very strong, but sometimes they don't get the correct attention that they need, or they don't get the right attention. So we need to make sure that we're doing the right things there. And then the beauty, again, is, we are continuously evolving and your agent will continuously be evolving. So over the period of time, it's going to get smarter. It's going to get more agile. It's going to learn more skills from your work and the agent that is being done. So again, it's serving the purpose of your organization, but also the mission of your HR goals. Why this matters? We're looking at, reducing efficiencies. We're looking at improving accuracies. We want to make sure that this is a scalable solution. So you might want to start small today, but it can be able to handle large applicants and large amounts of volume effortlessly. And then finally, this is key, is being able to focus on the right thing. A lot of reasons why people fail is they're doing too much and they're not able to ring fence, the right solution and the right strategy. So once you have all of this baked into an agent, then we could potentially guarantee better results and guarantee that we're doing the correct thing as an HR department. And then what does success look like? So if you look at success, if we were to look at a data analyst role, we could put certain parameters in there. Okay, those parameters can be very simple, like you see right here. We have 300 applications. And the main qualifications are SQL, Python, and 5 years of experience. We can push that we want certain matches to be at a certain percentage, and then it can start rating your candidates and start looking at your candidates in different ways. So that's just one idea of what a successful agent could be doing. And then finally, we have a whole flow chart. So we're not going to talk about this right now. We will design this for you. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is there's a lot of steps. If you look right here, there's 9 steps. So how can we make sure that we automate these steps, that we make sure that we're doing them efficiently, and that we are outputting something that makes sense? So that's it in a nutshell. I hope that we can, play around and do something really cool. I'm confident we can. But yeah, that's the overview for now.
Super. Thank you, Maher. Yeah, so guys, once again, those were kind of corporate-ish slides that we would use when build a specific solution for the customer with a very formal approach. But since this is an informal, actually live show where I'm building agents live, what I want to do, I want to just illustrate some concepts so that you learn how to do key steps using the agents, and then you can combine these key steps any way you like to come up with an end user solution. And Maher went through a series of very interesting things, and of course, I think most of you were either hiring or tried to get a job at some point, so you're familiar with the process. But basically, when you have to hire a lot of people for a position, it gets very tiring very soon for HR people, but for hiring managers as well, because just the first step of sifting through all the resumes can be very, very daunting. And of course, this is where agentic AI can really help you. So let's try doing something real quick here. So I'm gonna switch to this setup, which allows me to show my screen. So this is Integral Studio. I think you're familiar with that. Of course, I already did some experiments initially, but again, as promised, the show is completely live, so we're not gonna deceive you. We are doing everything as we go, as we progress, and that's half of the fun of it. So let's just get into the design agent stage, which should be familiar with you if you have seen the previous sets up already, and let's try to build an agent that can help us with the task. So people often get confused. Okay, how do I build an agent? What is an agent? Like how do I even start? The easiest way, guys, is to think how a human approaches this task. Nothing more, nothing less. So let's think, okay, I get a resume or I get 10 resumes. What do? I have a job description. I have to read the resume. I have to understand how well this candidate matches to this job description. And again, let me show just how beautifully well these agents perform even without much, fine-tuning, explaining, etc. Because Maher put some very nice criteria, and of course, in the end user solution, the final solution, we want to go this final mile, to go this extra 20%, to be very detailed, to explain what exactly we need, etc. But I'm just going to show you how we can build something that provides decent results very, very fast by using what we have. So what I have here, for instance, is a job description. for a position that we actually hired for. So I'm not going to be putting any thought into this even. I'm just going to copy the job description without even reading. Just going to copy the job description. I'm going to go back to the agent slide, and we're going to be building this agent from the beginning. And if you recall, the way it is done when you create a new agent, we have a basic agent, which is just agent inputs, agent outputs, and an LLM. But we would extend it with time right now. So first, let's change the model into something reasonably well default. GPT-4 is usually a good default. And then what we want to do, we'll go and put the job description into the system prompt. We will optimize it eventually, because now this agent will be customized to a specific position. But eventually, of course, I will show you how to make it customizable so that such an agent can work with any position. But for now, just to illustrate the process of how I approach building agents, to test ideas, to test things, because you need to test, you need to experiment, and then gradually you build an end solution that works for you. So I'm going to kill this how to apply because it's irrelevant. And now I'm going to cheat a bit, otherwise we will spend too much time. I'll save this agent, give it a name, recruiter 2. I will save it. And then I will copy some of the system prompts I already did when trying to build this.
So you don't, so just a question, you don't have to put any other prompt other than just dropping it in there?
Yeah, you just drop a job description and then you provide some additional instructions, of course. I will explain them. I just don't want to type them. I will copy them from the homework I did. So I go back to our Recruiter 2 agent. I expand our system prompt, and I type these additional instructions. So here is what those instructions are. And again, we discussed it many times. There is no rocket science to system prompting. You just have to explain the task by talking to an LLM as you would to a reasonably smart human. Use natural language and try to explain what exactly you want to get. So here what I'm saying is that you're given a job description. You will also be given a resume. I will show how we will do that. And then I'm asking the LLM to provide some details. So how relevant is the experience? Because here we describe key responsibilities, we describe qualifications in our job description, and then I'm just asking, please evaluate the candidate on their experience and on their qualifications. How well does this candidate fit to the position that we are looking to fulfill? So these are exactly these instructions. I'm not going to read them. You can read them further, or we will, of course, share all those agents after this show, so you can take a look for yourself. But yeah, so what I'm asking is to rate those candidates, anonymize, because we definitely don't want to put some people names out there. But then I want the overall fit score. And even that already will save me a ton of time, because reading and sifting through hundreds of resumes is very, very difficult. So let's see how we can finalize this agent. So let's save it. So what we need to do now, we also need to provide a resume for this agent, of course. The way we do it, again, if you looked at the previous installments, you know that we have this magical node called readability. We put it right here. So what it does is it allows us to read pretty much any document or any URL and convert it into a textual format that an LLM can understand. So what we're going to do here, we'll drag attachment here to agent inputs. We will drag content to user prompt. And here what I'm doing is that I will be attaching a resume file here. Readability will convert it to the textual format, and then I will give it as a user prompt to my LLM. And then it will use the instructions I put into system prompt and provide some result. So let's test it. Let's test how it works. This is what we are doing usually here in the designer. Let me save it. Let me go into agent inputs. This is not needed. Here, I want to upload the file. So I'm going to choose a file. So I have a bunch of resumes here. I'm just going to use some random resume, attach it, have to wait until it uploads, and then I press play to run my agent. So readability box is working. It has converted the resume. Here we go. And now my LLM is providing an answer. So we can see that the agent is already working. To look at the results, it's more convenient to look in a different interface, which is chat with agents. So everything has worked, everything is fine. So let's switch to this chat with agents and see what kind of results I'm getting. All right. Candidate fit analysis, relevance of experience, 4 out of 5. It gives us a summary, but not in a relevant summary, but summary in the context of the job description that we provided. And this is, guys, this is the key point that I've been talking about in the previous installments always. And this is the point behind RAG, or retrieval augmented generation, is that you need to give relevant information to LLM in its context. Then it will be useful. If you don't give it in the context, it will hallucinate. So here we put the job description in the system prompt as part of the context. We provided some instructions. We gave a resume. Now we are getting actual very relevant feedback. How well the experience is matching. What is the presentation? Because I also asked to check if there is like a cover letter, for instance. Then it actually marks the relevance of qualifications. So passionate about AI and emerging technologies, 4 out of 5. Video production skills, 2 out of 5. Charismatic, 5, etc., etc. Additional clauses, overall fit score. So basically, again, we created an agent in 2 minutes that can read the resume, analyze it against your job description, and provide a very nice feedback, a very nice profile. So Maher, what do you think about this so far?
Yeah, this is super cool. So this is, I mean, in a matter of seconds, you got this up and running, which is fantastic. How does the user interface work? So like, I know you can use obviously our platform, but is there integrations if somebody wants to build their own UI or their own way of doing this also?
Yeah, exactly. This is something I was commenting on previously, guys. We can't really build an end-to-end solution, but obviously in the real life situation, you would want to integrate this into your recruiting system. And this is absolutely possible. It's also very easy to do. We have a customizable node that allows us to integrate with any API. So if you have a system that has an API, what we're going to do next, and I will show it, we won't go the final step, which is actual integration, but I will show how to convert this into JSON format that any API can understand, basically. And then what we will need to do to build a final solution is make basically 2 integrations. First one is to get the list of all the resumes that you have. It may be in your system. It may be somewhere on the file system. We can use anything as a source. Then we will use those nodes that work with lists that I mentioned about that I described in the previous video. We will use this agent to read every resume, create such a summary, and then as the final step, we will put this summary information back into the system with specific scores, and then you will be able to make a decision. So this is sort of part of the end-to-end process. But then I also have some ideas as I was building it. Previously, I had some ideas, and I'll show them to you that I think you may find useful as well. But for now, let's adjust this agent so that it returns not just the textual information, but also well-formatted JSON that we can use to talk to other systems eventually. So we go back to design agents, come back to our agent. And again, the way we do it is just we use LLMs. LLMs provide the magic for any type of textual transformation or data transformation we want. So we can just take another LLM node. Here it is. And what we do here, we take whatever output has been given us as text. We connect it here to the user prompt. Again, let's choose a reasonable default. And in the system prompt, we'll put temperature lower. In the system prompt, we'll just say your task is to analyze the candidate profile given to you and present it as a well-formatted JSON file. Here, I'm going to be very vague. And of course, for a specific system, when you know the API, the way that the API looks, I would provide an example of what kind of JSON needs to be produced, and it will produce it, no problem. But here, I'm just asking to convert the textual format into JSON format. I'll give a couple additional instructions to get what I want. I'll say, I only want the scores for every dimension, but no comments. Respond only with the JSON. And let's see what it comes back with. But normally, this should be enough to give it an example. So I will just connect the output here. And okay, let's save it. And then let's try this agent end-to-end from the chat interface. So we go back to Recruiter 2. We have this additional tab here for agent inputs. If we have not just the prompt into which we type, but if we have something else like the file that we're using here as an attachment, we have a separate tab for it. So let's use some other resume, or this one.
Format doesn't matter. Can you, what type of
Yeah,
format?
I mean, those are PDFs, but normally we can read anything.
Almost any format will be accepted or ingested.
So it's here, and then we just type go, and let's see what happens, if it works or not. It's always exciting moment. Okay, so again, we're getting a new profile. As you can see, it's different because it's a different resume. And now we got very nicely formatted JSON file. So this is what's called a JSON file. If you are a programmer or have been doing something with the data, you know how it looks. Basically, it's just a key and the value. So normally in the real solution, we would include, of course, the name of the candidate to be able to update their information in our recruiting system. And once again, we would present it in the format that our system understands. But as you can see, again, we made this change in 2 minutes. So we're not just getting a textual representation, which we can understand, but we are getting a very well formatted document, which we can use to call an API and update our system. So once again, we're not going to do it on the show, not enough time, but going this extra mile takes you another half an hour, and you would have an agent completely integrated into your system.
But as a base architecture, this is the base architecture, and then there's the final. If I'm correct, then there are the final integrations, maybe on both sides. So on the output and maybe the input of the UI, but
right,
typically more on the output side, right?
Exactly. You have to give the source, like where do you get resumes, and then if you want to update it somewhere, you can update it somewhere, or you can even use an Excel file, for instance. This is also a possibility. Actually, it might be a good idea. Let's use that. Next video, I'll make it as a promise. We'll finish this agent and I'll show you how it puts all the summary data into an Excel file, into a nice table with everything formatted. So yeah, this is like a screening process that allows you to evaluate candidates, that you can sort them, you can make an easier decision. And again, it makes my life as a hiring manager, for instance, immensely better because I don't need to do it myself. Writing a resume like this would take you, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe at least, because you need to understand what is happening, what is written. Every resume is formatted differently. You have to compare it with your job description. And here it's just, you get it right away.
Yeah.
So now let me show you again how to make it even more versatile. And then I'll show you the additional kind of a cherry on the cake that I thought about that can also help you in the hiring process. But first, let's make it more versatile. So, and what I mean is that here, as I mentioned, we put the actual job description right in the system prompt. Not ideal, because this means for every job, we will have to put this job description into a separate agent, copy it. It's possible, but a bit of a hassle. So how can we do it better? Very, very easily. We just take this job description. Oops, sorry, not everything. Taken everything. We keep the instructions that we already gave. Okay. And now what we do, we just create another input field. So we will call this input field, it's a textual input field. So we will call it job description. And then we just paste this job description here. We save it. And then all we need to do is connect this job description to the system prompt. It will appear here as this simple template, input job description. So now it's in the bottom, but in our instructions, we're actually saying that you're given a job description above. So I just copy it here. That's it. So now you can put any job description into the input field in your agent, and this agent will work for any job. So this agent we built in 5 minutes. We will make it available on the platform as one of the featured agent. You can play with it. You can customize it further, but it just illustrates the versatility and how we can, tackle the tasks of different complexity.
I think that's cool. So technically what happens now is you built the agent, you have the architecture, and then you're going to always be hiring different roles. All you do, you just change the description in one line.
Yeah. That's exactly
it will still execute the same way, and I think eventually it would start to build some form of RAG or core memory over time also.
Well, I mean, if you want to give additional context, like your approaches to hiring, etc., yes, there is the sky is the limit of what we can do. But yeah, I actually, as I promised, as I was preparing, as I was building it, I thought, okay, how can we make it even more fun or even more useful? And I have come up with another idea. So let me go back to sharing. I go back here. I'm not going to build it from scratch because we actually decided that we want to keep our show shorter, not a full hour, but like 40 minutes. So I think I built it already here. Yes. So what I built here is a follow-up node that is also an LLM node that creates a list of the interview questions for this person. So it's not just the profile, but we're also preparing for the interview. But not just that, we actually have an agent that will interview your candidate for you.
What do you mean?
Let us see that. So let's first test this one. Go back to chat with agents, recruiting one copy. Again, it has the same format. We just will add another resume here, whichever we have. Resume, upload. Now I say go. Let's hope it works. Usually it should. Yeah, so this person does not seem very relevant to us. So the experience, CV presentation, qualifications are not so good. Overall fit score 2 out of 5. And now, as you can see, this other node, based on this profile and based on our job description and based on our expectations, it generates follow-up questions for the HR interview. I asked it to limit it to 15, but you can, of course, be as big or as small as you like. And the questions are very relevant. Can you tell us about your interest in AI and emerging technologies? We want to understand who the person is, what drives them. Can you discuss a project where you had to work independently from? Basically, again, I gave some instructions to this follow-up node to create questions that will allow me to dig a little bit, to probe a little bit, to understand the strengths and weaknesses of the person, to have the final feedback. But then, go ahead, Maya.
So this is generated in regards to the description, or does it actually tie the CV and ask questions relevant to
the CV and the
Mhm.
profile, this description. So basically, it looks at the weaknesses that we found here, and it tries to probe them more for us to understand whether this person
Okay.
is a fit or not. So yeah, again, the magic of the context, the magic of RAG is that we are being very specific. It's not generic. It's very specifically tied to the resume and to the specific person we're talking about. So we have created these questions. And now, as I mentioned, we actually have an agent that will interview you. So again, we don't have that much time. And in the real system, we would combine a team of all these agents into one system so that you put a resume, it goes through the screening, it updates the system, it generates the question, and then it launches the interviewer that sends a meeting request to your candidate to have an interview. How about that? We can build it in another couple of hours. It's just our
Yeah.
show format doesn't allow that. But here is how this interviewer question agent would look like. I actually already started working with that. So basically what it does, you put the list of questions that you generated, as well as the resume, into this agent. And then it just starts asking you one by one. And you can interview your person, your candidate, without even wasting your people's time. So I answered one question already. So this was the question. Can you elaborate on any specific experiences where you have engaged with AI? I gave some stupid answer. It says, thank you for your response. Then it goes to the next question. And not just that, but it actually produces a voiceover as well.
Okay.
You hear it? Or?
I don't think, no, I can't hear. Maybe the platform is not allowing you to do that.
Maybe it doesn't set up, but basically
streamlining.
it has this as well. So
Yeah,
it gives you the next question. I can answer with voice recognition as well. So
Excellent.
here we have this start recording. I can say, so what's the question? Have you explored any tools? Yeah, I'm using Integral.ai platform, and I went to Amazon reInvent, and I really like those. So as you can see, it tries to understand what I'm saying, not very well sometimes, but I will just send it as a response. It says, got it. Then it moves on to the next question, given your background, etc. Et so it just moves question by question. Then when the interview is over, it also asks follow-up questions. But when the interview is over, it will create a summary of the questions. Then we will feed it back to our agent that makes a decision, and it will use the profile, the interview results, and the job description to make a final judgment. That's it. Guys, in whatever, 30 minutes that we were talking, we built a very good recruiting assistant, which we will use to fine-tune, to integrate with other systems. But again, we didn't want to do it generically because every company uses their own recruitment tool, etc., etc. And it is much better to integrate into yours. But it just shows you that we already have 3 agents that working as a team. We can integrate into your existing environments, or you can use them even personally without too much hassle through our chat interface, and they will make your job as HR, as recruiter, much, much, much easier. Isn't that just great?
It's fascinating. I mean, I didn't think it would be this quick, to be honest. This is super cool. Super cool and relevant too, right? And as you said, it can be done, very quickly, very driven with, specific measures and specific outcomes and specific ratings, and continuous fine-tuning, I think, is an important one too, right? So that's the beauty of the AI and the continuous learning, is you can always fine-tune it to get the perfect candidate even. But this is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, thank you, Maher. So I was just trying to check if we have any questions. We don't really have questions. We have comments, but I'm going to give a minute if you guys who are watching, if you have any questions to what you just saw, or maybe any wishes, what you want to see in the next sections. Otherwise, feel free to contact us on LinkedIn or via email. We are always open. We are looking for cases to cover. But again, guys, it's just, I'm very excited about this. And I mean, I understand that it's a platform, and of course we are a business and we want to make business, but just in general, I'm way overexcited about agents, about what they can do, about building them. So if you have ideas, if you want to learn, come to us. We are very open and we want to share, and we just want to make sure this new era comes as soon as possible.
It is time. That's all I have to say. It is the right time, right? The market is moving so fast, and there's so much stuff happening with agentic AI. It's really fascinating and exciting.
Yeah, exactly. All right, no questions, then that's great. Guys, see you all next week. We'll show you the finished version of this agent that puts everything into Excel, as mentioned. But again, we can do it into any other system, and we'll come up with something cool. I actually have some ideas on a programming agent, because a lot of people are asking me or start arguing with me what agents can do, what they cannot do. So I have a couple of ideas for development agents that we may talk about next time, but maybe it will be even something else if you come up with some cooler ideas to do.
I see we have one question, by the way, Anton.
Decentralized. That's a very good question. I mean, we have so many ideas that we want to work on. It's just too little hours in the day. Decentralized sounds interesting. We definitely want to explore. But again, if there are some specific ideas, more than happy to talk. But we will explore it at some point. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone, and see you next week.